Hey you guys, you guys know that the McCall and KnowMe spring patterns just dropped. Now it feels like it's been a minute since I did one of these videos, but we're gonna keep it short, sweet, and cute all at the same time. But first thing I need you to do is go ahead and grab a snack, something to drink, come on back so we could vibe and go through this. Now, typically I like to say from the start that there's not many that your girl's gonna be picking up because I am heavily focused on, in 2025, I am heavily focused on business wear and things that I could wear not only to the office, but also outside of the office, all right? Now, before we get started, okay, let me tell you what I have on. This jacket is something that I created as part of the fashion in Paris. I think it was Fashion in the City of Light that I did with my friend Sarah from Learning So Much on Instagram. This jacket is Simplicity 8558. All right, so that's it for that. So let's go ahead and get right on into this. All right, so listen, they dropped a few KnowMe patterns as well as McCall's patterns. Now, I'm gonna go through the KnowMe patterns first, simply because I think it was only like 3 patterns that I'm going to be picking up out of the, I think it was 11 or 12 that dropped. In addition, when it comes to the McCall patterns, I think it was only 3 or 4 that I'm going to be picking up, but I'll highlight that in this video. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first pattern. So KnowMe patterns range this time for the spring 2025 range from 2107 all the way to 2118. So the first pattern is 2107, and because they are KnowMe, we're just going to tell the number, and it is Raven Marine's pattern. Now this is a top and skirt pattern in 2 lengths. It's fitted, coordinating top and skirt pattern set. The top has white straps. It has a sweetheart neckline, princess seam, front button closure, and faux welt pockets, okay, on the top. Now, one thing I will say is that skirt is a midi or midi length. It has front button closure, back darts, and side seam pockets. And then one thing I like about this pattern is it has separate pattern pieces for different cup size. So you have A, B, then your C, D cup for that bodice, okay? Now this is an average to sew pattern, and all the patterns comes in PDF or paper printed patterns. Now when it comes to sizing for this pattern, it's 2 pattern sizes, size 8 to 16 on the first pattern envelope, and then 18 to 26 on that second pattern envelope. Now this is a pattern that I am going to be picking up myself. Of course, you know, all the KnowMe pattern designers will be doing a sew along for their pattern. So stay on the lookout for that as well. Now, when it comes to, let's talk about fabric. So in terms of fabric for Raven's pattern, you can use cottons, you can use gabardine, jacquard, linen, pique, stretch woven, suiting, tweed, just to name a few. You're also going to need some lining fabric as well. When this comes to notions, you are going to need buttons because a button down shirt. Now it says 7/8 inch buttons. However, it is hard for me to find 7/8 inch buttons in my local Joann's. So I will probably be going with either 3/4, which is 6/8, okay, 3/4 inch buttons, or 1 inch buttons for this one, all right? Now for view A, you're gonna need 4 buttons, and then view B, you're gonna need 5. But then if you're doing the skirt, which is view C, you're going to need 9 buttons. But once again, this is one that I'm going to be picking up myself, and it is Raven Marine's pattern 2107. Let's go ahead and move over to the next one. Next up is Alyssa's pattern from Alyssa's Thread. She created a Mrs. dress. Now I am going to leave this on the shelf because I feel like I already have a pattern that's similar as well for this one. It's just basically an A-line sleeveless, or you could do the puff sleeves as well. She did mention when they announced the KnowMe pattern designers that she's all into the puff sleeves. So everything's going to have a puff sleeves on it and some ruffles. If you missed that, go back to when they announced that she's going to be part of KnowMe patterns. Now, one thing I'm going to mention about this is like a tent dress style, A-line tent dress, but then she has the heart in the back, which is one thing that I like about this pattern, but I'm definitely going to leave this on the shelf. Now let's get into what this pattern features. It's an A-line sleeveless or short puff sleeve mini dress pattern. It has heart cutout details on the back with optional ruffle lace trim. It features bust dart, side seam pockets, and button and elastic loop closure on the back. It is an average to sew pattern. When it comes to sizing, it's 4 to 12 on the first envelope and 14 to 22 on that second envelope. Let's talk fabric. So in terms of fabric, you can use basically any type of woven fabric. Your cotton blends, your chambray, your cotton lawn, denim, linen blends, rayon blends, just to name a few. When it comes to notions, you're going to need some buttons and a pack of single fold bias tape for that. And because of that, I mean, you can use lace. That's part of View B. To use lace, and you're gonna need some elastic. So make sure you have your notions before you get started. All right. Now, once again, this is Alyssa from Alyssa Threads pattern 2108. Moving over to the next one is 2109, which is a newcomer to the KnowMe brand. Welcome, Brandon from Happily Dressed. And he created a men's vest and pant pattern. This pattern is a line vest pattern, features a front button closure and panels at the back, the side back. For the pants, they're barrel leg shaped pants. It have waistband with button loops, front and back dart, and it also features pocket, front leg darts, which is different because I have never seen front leg darts. And it also features a fly front zipper with a button closure there as well. So I do like these pants. It is an average to sew pattern. I like these pants simply because for the barrel. So if I was to pick up this pattern, which I think I'm going to leave this one on the shelf, but if I was to pick up this pattern, it would be strictly for the barrel leg. All right. But I feel like Vogue 2051, that is a pattern that has the barrel legs. So I don't know if I would pick it up, but it's not a no, but it is a maybe. Okay. I might pick this up and to support Happily Dressed simply because it's his first pattern. You know what I mean? So let's talk about sizing for this pattern. So this pattern comes in 2 pattern envelopes, 34 to 42 on the first one and 44 to 52 on the second pattern envelope. Let's talk fabric. So in terms of fabric, you can use chambray, chinos, corduroy, cotton blends, denim, linen, just to name a few. I did mention it's an average to sew pattern. Now for the notions, you're going to need buttons for the vest and you're going to need a 7-inch exposed zipper for the pants and a button, preferably 3/4 inch buttons. But once again, this is Happily Dressed, newcomer to the KnowMe brand. Let's move over to the next pattern. Next up is Brittany J. Jones pattern. It's 2110. Now Brittany did something cool and sexy, and I'm going to be picking this pattern up. She created a knit top and some woven pants. So it's like a loungewear jogger style feel, and I like that for Brittany, okay? But let's get into the details of this pattern. So it's a loose fitting t-shirt pattern style top with short sleeves, has drop shoulders, neckband patch pockets, shaped hemline, and adjustable self ties through the side seam opening. Now the pants are elasticated pants, and it has a drawstring as well, side seam pockets, back patch pockets, and then View B is a straight leg. View C is your jogger style with elastic casing at the end. Hem. Now this is an easy to sew pattern. In terms of sizing, it's 2 pattern envelopes. The first one is 10 to 18, and then the second one is 20 to 28. Now the view that I like for the pants is the view that's our jogger style. So that's the view that I would be going for when I create these pants, because this is definitely going on my list, okay? Let's talk fabric. So in terms of fabric, any type of fabric of your choosing for this pattern, you can use, like for View A, the top, you have to use knit fabric. And then View B, any type of woven fabric, stretch woven, twill, cotton blends, chino, chambray, denim, just to name a few, even including linen blends as well. But this is an easy to sew pattern. In terms of notion, for View A, it is a no notion pattern. Write that down, no notion pattern, okay? And then View B, you're going to need elastic for View B and View C. And you can create the drawstring utilizing some leftover scrap fabric, or you can use some twill tape or cording if you choose. But once again, This is Brittany J. Jones pattern 2110. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is Ella's pattern 2111. And this one is Handmade Millennials pattern. Ella from Handmade Millennials, she created a missus dress. Now, I'm going to leave this on the shelf because I don't see myself wearing this anywhere, not to be rude or anything, but I don't see myself wearing this pattern. And I feel like I have something similar, which is a McCall's pattern. I think it's McCall 7949 or 7948. I'll put it up so you're able to see the pattern that I'm thinking it's very similar to. So I'm going to leave this on the shelf, but let's get into the details of this pattern. It is a line pleated dress pattern in a baby doll or full length, have hidden corsets with angled bust darts, or bust details, I should say, and an invisible back zipper closure. Now, view A has an halter strap that cross around the back and round shaped hem at the bottom. View B is strapless with slight high-low hem and thigh-high skirt slit. It is an average to sew pattern. In terms of sizing, 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 14 on the first one and 16 to 24 on that second pattern envelope. Let's talk fabrics and notions. So in terms of fabric for this one, you're going to need like your silky print, your chiffon, something like, or satin, just to name a few. For your under bodice, that is basically the under part. You're going to need some cotton type, crepe, medium weight muslin, just to name a few there. And you're going to need some lining fabric. And the lining fabric, you need polyester blends for that. Now, in terms of notions, because it did say that it's a corset, you're going to need some boning. You're going to definitely need a 14-inch invisible zipper, and you're going to need some silicone gripper elastic. I have never heard of that, but if you make corsets, I'm pretty sure you know what that is, okay? I don't make corsets, so that's why I don't know, but y'all could definitely let me know in the comment section what the heck that is, or send me a DM on Instagram and let me know, like, girl, you've been sleeping underneath the rock. This is what that is, but I'm going to actually look it up before I post this video. All right. But once again, this is Ella from Handmade Millennials pattern 2111. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern, which is the newcomer 2112. So 2112 is Holly Darling, pattern. Now, I don't know who she is. Womp, womp. Sorry, I don't know who she is, but she's a newcomer to the KnowMe brand. She created a dress in 2 length and a belt. Let's go ahead and get into the details of this pattern. So she created a gored dress pattern with high square neckline. It has spaghetti straps, contrast godettes, godettes, invisible zipper closure, and optional self-covered belt. It is an average to sew pattern for this pattern. In terms of sizing, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 4 to 12 and 14 to 22 on the second pattern envelope. Let's talk fabrics and notions for this pattern. So with this pattern, the suggested fabrics are cotton blends, cotton lawn, linen blends, rayon, tencel, just to name a few. And it says you're going to need some cotton blends or polyester blends for lining. But let's be honest, if you're creating a cotton blend garment, you're going to line it with cotton. I mean, make that make sense. But I feel like you can go without the lining, but be mindful of if it's a see-through. If you're seeing through, you might need to line it. Okay, you're welcome. This is an average to sew pattern as well. In terms of notion, you're going to need a 22-inch invisible zipper for that. And you're going to need a buckle without the prong in the middle of that belt buckle. All right. But once again, this is 2112. It is Holly Darling pattern. Don't know who she is, but I'm going to find out who she is. I'm going to look it up. That's what we do, right? But congratulations, Holly, and welcome to the KnowMe brand. Now, honestly, I'm going to leave this on the shelf because I feel like I already have a dress that's very similar to this. So I don't need another one because I could just go to that pattern I haven't cut yet. Now, I think it's a simplicity pattern, but I don't remember the number. And I'm not going to go look for it because it's probably buried somewhere in my garage with all the millions of patterns that I have, all right? But once again, that is 2112. Let's move over to the next pattern, 2113. And 2113 is Julian from Julian Creates Pattern. Now this one, I like the top. Let's just go ahead and get into what this pattern is. It's a Mrs. shirt and pant pattern. Now this one, the shirt is a collarless button-up shirt pattern with front and back yoke and have a hidden zipper pocket. Now, it also features a shirt tail hem and long sleeve with button cuffs. View B is the contrast. You could contrast the yoke and the sleeves for this one. And then view C, which is the pants, okay? Now the pants have a waistband with built-in belt buckle, fly front zipper with hook and bar closure, front pockets, and single welt back pockets for this one. Now this is an average to sew pattern. In terms of sizing, it's 3 pattern envelopes. Let me say that slowly. 3 pattern envelopes, okay? And the first pattern envelope is 36 to 42. The second pattern envelope is 44 to 50. And the last pattern envelope is 50 to 56. Okay, that was a lot. All right, but let's go ahead and talk about the notions and the fabrics you can use in order to create this pattern. Now, in terms of fabric for this pattern, for A and B, which are the tops, cotton, chambray, linen, shirting, just to name a few there. For the pants, you could create it in chinos, denims, cotton blends, linen, gabardine, just to name a few there, or even stretch wovens for that. But in terms of notion, of course, you're going to need notions for this shirt. The shirt, you're going to need 10 half-inch buttons and then 2 7-inch snaps, okay? And when it comes to view C, the pants, you're going to need a 7-inch all-purpose or exposed zipper, but they want you to cut it to fit. So you're going to cut it to fit after you get that 7-inch zipper, and you're going to need a button, all right? But once again, it's 2113. It's Julian from Julian Creates Pattern. I like it for the top, to be honest with you. Now, those pants, I'm going to be honest with you. Unless I'm making a size almost 50, I'm just going to say men pants is different from women. Most women have a badonkadonk, booty. You know, we shaped a little different than a man. So if I make these pants, I'm probably cutting a 48, 50, probably. But I'll look at the back of the pattern envelope when I get it and see, all right? But if I get this pattern, which I probably will, it will be strictly for the top, not necessarily the pants, all right? Let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern. The next pattern is 2114, and this pattern is Lindsay's pattern from the Stitch Fit. Now, she created a cord set, a top, and a skirt. Now, the thing, let's go ahead and get into her pattern, and then I'm going to be picking this pattern up, but let's go ahead and get into the details. So this pattern is a halter style vest top pattern with front button opening. It has princess seams and faux welt pockets. The lower part of the vest flares out and shows a little bit of skinny skin, okay? Now, view B, which is the skirt, it is an A-line skirt. It has the front and back darts and side seam invisible zipper closure. Now, I'm pretty sure that the skirt has what is it called? Facing pieces, one for the front, one for the back. Now, I feel like the skirt pattern is similar to McCall's 3830, which is now, I can't think of the new pattern number, but I think it's 8050. Why does that sound right but wrong at the same time? Anyway, I made this pattern and did a sew along for that pattern. It's very similar to that. The only difference is it's a side invisible zipper instead of a back zipper. But you know, with patterns, you can always change it out. Now, I'm not necessarily here for the skirt. I'm not knocking the skirt. I am here for the vest. I like this vest. And one thing you can do is close it up in the back if you are making it for work or whatnot. I feel like this This is a good one, Lindsay. I like this one on you. I like this one. Good job, Lindsay. Okay, let's get into the rest of this pattern. So this pattern is an average to sew pattern. It comes in 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 14 on the first one, 16 to 24 on that second pattern envelope. Let's talk about notions and fabrics. So in terms of the fabrics, you can use cotton blends, denim, gabardine, linen, stretch, woven, and twill, just to name a few there. In terms of notions, view A, the vest, you're going to need 3/4 inch buttons, and then view B, the skirt, you're just going to need a 7-inch invisible zipper. But once again, this is Lindsay from the Stitch Fits pattern, and she created that vest and skirt pattern. I am picking this one up. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. Next up is 2115, and this is Lydia Naomi's pattern, which she created a dress in 2 lengths. Now, honestly, I'm gonna leave this on the fence because I don't want to do all that shearing whatsoever, but let's get into it. So this is a smock dress sewing pattern. It has decorative front button placket, shoulder ties, self ruffles around the neckline, and top stitching at the hem. Now view A is above the knee length, and then view B is your maxi length. This is an average to sew pattern. Let's talk sizing. So in terms of sizing, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 8 to 16 on the first one, and 18 to 26 on that second pattern envelope. Let's talk fabrics and notions. So in terms of fabric, you could use charmeuse, cotton lawn, crepe, gauze, rayon, silky print, just to name a few for that. And then in terms of the notions, view A and B, all you need is elastic thread because you're going to be making that shearing. One thing I don't want to do, all right? Also, you're going to need some buttons. You're going to need 10 buttons for view A and 11 buttons for view B, okay? Now, in addition to the elastic thread, you're going to need some elastic as well. Now, in terms of the buttons, they need to be at least a 1/2 inch buttons, but you can use whatever size that you choose for your buttons, okay? So once again, this is Lydia Naomi's pattern 2115. And the next pattern for KnowMe brand is Kishi B. Marcia from Kishi B Styles 2116. Let's get into it. So she created a Mrs. dress and jumpsuit pattern. So this is a tie front dress pattern and jumpsuit with loose gatherings, half-fitted bodice, low back seam, side seam pockets, and an invisible zipper closure. Now, view A dress has shoulder ties, and view B jumpsuit has the straps. This is an average to sew pattern. Now let's talk about sizing. So in terms of sizing, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 10 to 18 on the first one, and then 18 to 26 on the second pattern envelope. Let's talk fabrics and notions. So in terms of fabric, you can use chambray, crepe, double georgette, linen, or silky types, or rayon. Just to name a few there. In terms of notions, for both, view A or view B, you're gonna need a 14-inch invisible zipper. And then you're going to need a pair of 3/8 to 5/8 clear elastic shoulder straps, which are optional. You can make your own shoulder straps as well, but those are optional. It is an average to sew pattern. Now let's talk about this pattern real quick. So when I seen this drop, I immediately knew that this pattern is very, very similar to McCall 7789. I'm going to put it up so you're able to see that. It also reminds me of Lindsay from the Stitch Fits pattern. I don't remember the number. It's a KnowMe pattern. I think it was like her first pattern that she dropped with KnowMe brand. So it was very similar to that as well. I'm going to leave this one on the shelf because I feel like I can make those adjustments with McCall 7789 and be good to go. Yeah, I feel like I could just do the same thing with that pattern. But once again, this is 2116. Now I know my daughter liked this pattern, but listen, unless she wants to pay her money when it comes out, she could do that. But for me, I think I'm gonna leave this on the shelf. But I think it's cute. Congratulations, Marcia, AKA Kishi B. But let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern. All right, so next up is Norris. The last two patterns for KnowMe brand is Norris. So the first one is 2117. It is men's short in 2 lengths and knit top. All right, that was a mouthful. All right, so the top is a raglan sleeve knit top pattern with short or long sleeve. The shorts, which is view C, the shorts has built-in liner, have elastic waistband, adjustable front tie, side seam pockets with a hidden zipper, and zipper back media pocket for like if you put in your iPhone or Android phone, whichever one you have in it, okay? View C is above the knee length, and then view D is calf length. This is an average to sew pattern. Now, in terms of sizing, it's 1 pattern envelope, size small to extra, extra large. In terms of notions and fabrics, let's talk fabrics first. For the fabric, for view A and B, stretch knit, of course, ITY, cotton knit, rayon knit, just to name a few. View C and D, the shorts, you're going to need active wear knit or compression wicking knit. I wouldn't say compression mesh, no, not that. You're going to need some knit fabric, period, point blank. And then also for view C and D, you're going to need some cotton or lightweight woven fabrics as well. All right. But once again, this is Norris pattern, but I want to say like the top. Let's talk about the top real quick. So the top reminds me of, I want to say it's his first pattern with Simplicity. And if I remember correctly, that pattern number is Simplicity 8513. It was like a knit top and you could color block it all over. I'm going to put it up so you're able to see it just in case the actual number is incorrect. But I think it's 8513 if my brain serves me well, because you know that old age is kicking in. But yeah, I think the top reminds me of that a little bit. But when it comes to the shorts, let's not talk about the compression part, right? Let's just talk about the actual shorts. The actual shorts reminds me of his last couple of patterns that he did with shorts. One pattern particularly that it reminds me of is another pattern that he did with Simplicity. I don't remember the pattern number, but they did one in a children's size for Mimi's son. And then they had one. I'm going to put it up so you're able to see what I'm talking about. It's 90, I think it's 93, 80 something. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. I'm pretty good with these numbers, but I just sat down. So I'm like giving these to you guys, you know, as I see it. I don't have the pattern numbers like right in front of me like I would normally have for you guys to see that. But once again, just go say, I'm leaving this on the shelf. It's 2117. Let's go ahead and move over to the last pattern as KnowMe brand, okay? It's 2118, another Norris Donta Ford pattern. Let's go ahead and get into the description. So 2118 is a men's jacket pattern. This is an oversized double breast jacket sewing pattern. It has drop shoulders with shoulder pads, 2-piece sleeves with a vent, notched lapels, chest pocket, welt pockets with flap, and a back vent. This is an average to sew pattern. Now, let's talk sizing. So it's 2 pattern envelopes. The first one is 34 to 42, and the second pattern envelope is 44 to 52. Let's talk fabrics and notions. So in terms of fabrics, cotton blends, gabardine, lightweight wools, linen, stretch wovens, tweed, twill, just to name a few. In terms of notions, you're going to need 3 3/4 inch buttons, a pair of shoulder pads, which are optional, and then 3 pack of double fold bias tape for this one. All right. Once again, it's Norris Donta Ford pattern, but let me stop here because this pattern reminds me of what I have on, which is Simplicity 8558, which is Mimi G's pattern. The only difference that I think, okay, is that it has welt pockets instead of patch pockets. That's number one, easy detail change that you can make. But it also reminds me of Mimi G's pattern, Simplicity 9714. Yes, I'm gonna put both of those up so you're able to see that. 9714, where it has the tie, 86 the tie. It kind of reminds me of that as well. The only difference is it's rounded instead of a notch collar. But this one definitely reminds me of the pattern that I currently have on, which is Simplicity 8558. All right, so those are all the KnowMe brand patterns. If this video was educational, inspiring, and fun, you know what to do. Give your girl 2 thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I will catch you in the next video, which will be my buttering. 5 pattern pieces are left. You could see that video right here. And it'll also be available sometime this week. Well, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.